Watching news at Prime, let's bring you this now, and we continue with the major focus on the big story of the day, and this is the severe weather conditions and flooding across various provinces that's been classified a national disaster. The decision follows consultations with the relevant government departments and an assessment of the adverse weather conditions experienced since November. Now, SALGA, the chairperson of Emergency Services and Disaster Management Working Group, Mluleki Nkosi, is joining me now to talk more about the situation that's unfolding in the country. Mr. Nkosi, good evening to you. Thank you for your time. Let's start with your reaction to the classification of this severe weather as a national disaster. What does that mean to your mind as SALGA?
No, thank you very much for the invitation, and good evening to the viewers at home too. Today we were supposed to have a meeting as SALGA and all municipalities that are affected, including the other chairpersons of other national working groups for electricity infrastructure at the SALGA level. Yesterday we had a meeting with the minister, and we were discussing the same. And in our meeting today, we were planning to assist municipalities to apply for this proclamation to declare a disaster. So we are delighted that it has been done. It will fast track the processes of relief for our people that were affected, and indeed, it will work as an advantage for us because it will shortcut the processes that we are advocating for of changing on overhauling the disaster management system in the country.
Let's talk about that, because your statement is quite clear, because you're urging for the strengthening of disaster management systems amid the rising climate disasters. In particular, you say that you want national action to modernize the disaster management framework. What, in practical terms, are you advocating for? What is it that you want?
In practical terms, Toli, if you can see, the current legislation of disaster management is that we are only responding to disaster. We wait for the disaster to strike. After the disaster, we go there, those areas that are affected, we make assessments, we provide relief, we submit to the disaster management unit in the provinces, and subsequently it has to go to national, it has to go to the Minister of Finance, approval of funding. So all that bureaucracy and red tape, we think that it is the one that is killing the disaster management system. So what we are proposing basically as SALGA, and we have already submitted, that is why we are saying we need a speedy response from Parliament that this legislation should be overhauled. We want a two-pronged approach, the risk reduction and also the rescue and recovery. On risk and reduction, we mean that when we want national to devolve certain power and policies to local government, so that even if we build, whether it's schools, infrastructure, bridges, or factories, they should be disaster risk reduction processes that they need to comply with.
Yeah.
If not, if there's no resilience in those plans that they do, we cannot grant them allowance to build. For instance, if a bridge get eroded in a rural area, what we do, we fix the bridge the very same way that it was before, so it does not assist the situation.
Okay, so while what you are calling for, certainly you, just listening to you, you are advocating for progress to be made, and in particular, quick action at the level of local government. But the recurring concern, Mr. Nkosi, is that there is no skill or there is no skills capacity at local government to do exactly what you are saying. Instead, what we're going to see are consultants being brought in to try and implement what local government claims that it wants to do for itself without having to wait for province or national to intervene.
All in responding to that, I want also to respond with practical examples of what we are advocating for. You would know that we have requested and pressurized the minister for years as SALGA to review the local government legislation, the white paper on local government, which the minister has already proclaimed it's in the process of being reviewed. Why we say that? Only there are issues that we need to resolve. Local government is over-legislated. I want to take a municipality in the very rural of the rurals. This issue of categorization of municipalities or grading of municipalities. You have a grade 3 municipality in a rural area, which you need to advertise for the position of the CFO in that municipality. When you advertise, the requirements are say you need a BCom accounting degree with 7 years experience, 5 years of which is in local government. I can tell you now, you can re-advertise and re-advertise. You won't get a person who will accept to earn an annual salary of 900,000 or $1 million and go to the rural area. And those are the requirements. And those are requirements cuts across even in metropolitan municipalities. Yeah. So we are unable to lure people from those municipalities because the salary scale there is low. And hence you have a situation that you can't attract skills in those municipalities. And all the money that is allocated there, it's returned back to treasury. So that is why we say this issue of categorization of municipalities need to come to an end. A councillor in a rural area has got a lot of responsibility than a councillor in a metropolitan area. Take a councillor. Yes, Polly?
Yeah. No. Finish your point.
Yeah. For instance, take a councillor in the Northern Cape. It's a vast area. And that councillor is servicing farms.
Yeah.
And a councillor in the city of Johannesburg. And in terms of their benefits and salaries, they don't earn the same. The one that is in the metro earns more, and the one that is in a rural area earns less. That is why you find that money always goes back to treasury in those municipalities due to skills. I agree with you. That is why I want to change on that.
Mr. Nkosi, let's quickly wrap the conversation, therefore, on this question, and I'd like for your quick answer, please. Traditional leaders in these localities, particularly in the far-flung areas, these are the areas that are now deep in disaster. Limpopo, Mpumalanga, these are largely rural areas, and part of ensuring that there are services brought in, there's got to be consultation with traditional leaders. Are these people of any help to communities, or, as one gentleman said this week, they actually stand in the way of progress or in the way of services being rolled out? What's your experience?
No, our experience, Polly, as SALGA, is that we have a good relationship with traditional leaders. We do speak with them, and they also tell us their challenges. And challenges that we incur many a time are those that are illegal, those that are not really traditional leaders in those areas. They allocate land into flood-lying areas to communities, and when there are disasters, those land, they get washed away. And so our relationship with them is cordial, and I don't want to put an umbrella approach that they stand in front of service delivery. There are discussions with them now. There are issues that they would have raised with us as SALGA that we need to raise with the Minister of COPTA so that we also accommodate them in our planning and in our committees that we normally engage with as a structure.
SALGA Chairperson of Emergency Services and Disaster Management Working Group, Mluleki Nkosi, thank you very much for your time this evening.